Every day, millions of tons of cargo are tightly squeezed through a narrow strip of water in the Egyptian desert. That single artificial channel handles roughly 12 to 15% of all planetary trade. This map shows the ultimate maritime shortcut, connecting Asian manufacturing directly to European markets, saving thousands of miles. But ships must first pass its southern exit, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, a narrow waterway connecting the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden. If you block that tiny southern passage, the massive canal to the north becomes entirely useless. Recently, armed groups turned this crucial strait into a war zone, launching precision drone and missile strikes directly at commercial vessels attempting to pass through. These attackers are not firing blindly. They are specifically hunting ships with ties to Western nations. This chart shows the immediate financial fallout. The cost of maritime insurance for any ship attempting to navigate the Red Sea has skyrocketed. The financial and physical risks are now so high that major shipping conglomerates, companies like Maersk and MSC, are abandoning the route entirely. A handful of armed groups have effectively shut down the world's most vital shipping lane without ever setting foot near the canal itself. With the Red Sea blocked, these massive cargo fleets have only one viable alternative. They have to sail all the way around the southern tip of Africa, past the Cape of Good Hope. This graphic shows the severe time penalty. Bypassing the canal adds 10 to 15 extra days to a journey. Those extra days also require ships to burn massively higher volumes of fuel to cover the additional miles. Right now, entire fleets of heavily loaded container ships are crawling across the open ocean, forced far away from their optimized paths. The modern, hyper-optimized global supply chain has been forced backward, relying on grueling trade routes that date back to the 19th century. Back up north, the absence of those ships is hitting Egypt's infrastructure hard. With commercial traffic practically vanishing, transit revenues for the Suez Canal have plummeted by over 60% compared to last year. The Egyptian economy depends heavily on the canal to bring in foreign currency. Without those daily transit fees, those vital cash inflows are shrinking fast. The loss of these transit fees represents a devastating and immediate macroeconomic shock to the Egyptian state. You might be wondering why the world's most advanced navies don't just sail in, secure the strait, and reopen the shipping lane. The answer lies in asymmetric warfare, a military conflict where opposing forces have vastly different capabilities and resources. In this case, it is nearly impossible to fully defend millions of square miles of open water against unpredictable strikes. Global navies are deploying advanced multi-million-dollar warships to intercept aerial threats that cost only a few $1,000s to build. Even with military escorts nearby, commercial cargo vessels remain massive, slow-moving soft targets that are incredibly difficult to shield completely. This strategy of disruption warfare is working. It is simply too economically draining for a modern navy to intercept every cheap drone launched at a passing ship. The consequences of this military stalemate are now bleeding into Europe and Asia. Retail supply chains are fracturing, leaving warehouses with growing inventory shortages. Energy markets are especially vulnerable. Shipments of oil and liquefied natural gas, or LNG, are facing unpredictable delays. Liquefied natural gas is natural gas that has been cooled to a liquid state for easier shipping and storage. As shipping costs surge and inventory dries up, the added expenses are directly feeding a new wave of global inflation. If this blockage continues, the prices of electronics, everyday fuel, and basic food supplies will all rise. Shipping conglomerates and retailers are not going to absorb the massive financial penalty of an African detour. They will pass every cent of that cost directly to you. The chaos in the Red Sea exposes a brutal reality about the modern world. Our global supply chains are incredibly fragile. This map illustrates how the entire planetary economy relies on just a handful of narrow geographic choke points to function. In network architecture, this is known as a single point of failure. A single point of failure is a part of a system that, if it fails, will stop the entire network from working. When one localized blockage occurs, the stress ripples outward, straining every other maritime route on Earth. We have taken cheap, fast global shipping for granted for decades, but that era is now under serious threat. Our interconnected, high-tech world remains entirely dependent on physical geography. We are ultimately only as strong as our narrowest, most vulnerable stretch of water.